To call this regular council meeting to order. It's being November 24th. Please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Good evening. Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember Fletcher.
Here.
Councilmember Nutter.
Here.
Councilmember Hilst.
Here.
Councilmember Abel.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hoheimer.
Here.
And Mayor Burris.
Here. Having a quorum, we will conduct business. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that the agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Any questions or concerns about the agenda? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that the regular city council meeting of November 10th, 2025, minutes be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second again by Ms. Hoheimer. Any questions on the approval of the minutes? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. We have now come down to item 5, which is public input. Anyone wishing to have their voice heard, please come to the podium. Make sure the mic is on and state your name. And a reminder, you have 5 minutes.
There we go. Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
Good evening.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, Ms. Mayor and the rest of the council. I know this is going to be a bit of out of whack and way after the fact, but it's been something that's been really just kind of pawing at me for a while, so I figured I'd come in and talk to you.
Can
While
we
that-
have you state your name
yes.
for the record?
My name is Zoe Carter.
Okay,
So.
she's got it. All right.
Yes, of course. So back in, I think it was April, was it? The city of Pekin managed to purchase the Litigan property, which
Okay.
I am incredibly excited for.
Thank you.
It really is such a great thing for the city to have and to be able to grow. And seeing my city that I've called home my entire life and seeing it grow like this is absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
The one thing I want to bring attention to the council and to ask that the council looks at from going forward from here on out is the biggest project is that data center. I am excited for the job and for the money and for the income to come into Pekin. We need it. My only hesitation with not just this, but every single project moving forward is us as citizens, us as taxpayers. Illinois is the 4th largest producer of electrical energy in the United States. We produce more electrical energy than we have since 1990. We are the largest producer of nuclear energy in the entire United States. Unfortunately, our electric bills have gone up. We had the highest increase. Now, I'm not saying that this is stuff that you guys cannot control. What I'm asking you to do is any sort of project that comes into Pekin, whether it is a data center or an AI center or whatever it may be, double check and look at the costs and look at making sure that these projects can be done without affecting the bottom lines of the taxpayers. It's something that's been weighing on me, and I already struggle enough as it is with my bills, and I know all my neighbors do, and I just want to see our citizens to be able to afford to even buy food and afford their homes. So that's all I came to here to say tonight is thank you again for everything you all do. Just moving forward, I would really love some sort of reciprocation from these companies to be able to make sure that we don't, the cost isn't passed on to the consumers. Thank you.
Well, I do want to say that everyone involved, the
Okay.
company, city staff, we're all council, we're all trying to do our due diligence to make sure that this is going to be a great fit for the city of Pekin and not harm anyone. So, like I said, everyone's trying to do their due diligence. So,
And
yeah.
I see that.
And I appreciate you
And I-
coming forward.
Yes, and I do see that.
Thank you.
It's just very on my head, so.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to have their voice be heard?
Good evening, Matthew Johnson.
Good evening. Hey, before you start the clock, I got a question for you. Did the Chiefs win last night or not?
Yeah, they did, Mary.
Thank you. I didn't get to watch it. Thank you.
Yeah, they did. I'm probably not really in the right mindset to even speak on this, but I got to speak out on the tax levy. What was it, back in February? I was called an idiot because I didn't know how pensions worked, you know. And that's true. I didn't know how they worked. I still don't know how they work because I don't have one. And I was threatened with assault for simply having an idea. I got an email that told me to inflict self-harm. It was take my idea and jump off Pekin Bridge, is what the email said. You know, it was an idea I made public. It was an idea that I never walked back. I won't walk back. I will probably die on that hill, certainly not by myself. There are other people who feel this way, but the pension system in its own right, as of 2025, cannot sustain itself. And you can see it tonight. You know, you're going to raise it 4.9%, the tax levy, but you're not going to get there. I don't think we'll ever get there, you know? And I'm certainly not going to belabor my idea any further, but, you know, it wouldn't exist if it wasn't possible. And that's the tax-deferred 457B plan. It's called 457B because it's the government-issued version of a 401K. You know, the Illinois Constitution specifically says if you're in a pension, you can't touch it and all that. I never said that was a problem. I'm saying all new hires, 25, 22, however old they are, who get hired into the city or in some type of city employment, shouldn't be given attention. Just give them the 457B. You have that ability to do it. I lost my train of thought, but so let's just what was it, November 5th? Councilmember Holheimer, you felt compelled to go on the record and say that the mayor said 0 on the tax levy, but here we sit at 4.9. I'm curious to what everyone's number is. I'm curious, because if it's 0, then it should be 0, because if you raise it, you're not going to get there, and you might as well just vote it down and tell Springfield to figure it out, because they're the ones that created it. So, you know, we hear this, we're going to move the city forward, and we are moving forward at neck break speeds, but not with this. This, we're still in the 80s, and you have the ability to change it. Certainly not tonight, but moving forward, you got to get out of the 80s and just let new hires get a 457B plan. Zoe brought up a good topic about the data center. I'll keep my comments for a later date on that, but she's pretty spot on. And if you let them tap into that grid, it's going to be pretty devastating because it's simply supply and demand. Have a good evening.
Anyone else wishing to have their voice be heard? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt your.
You're fine. Good evening, John McNish. Mayor Burris, you often making hard decisions, fixing the issues and what the previous administrations failed to do. What is that? Or better yet, who is that? Anyway, I'll get to that a little later. At the last council meeting, Councilman Abel mentioned me by name. He said, contrary to what Mr. McNish says, he wasn't even in the room, I don't believe. They had everything, pros and cons. This was about the home rule event you all had. You're absolutely correct. I wasn't in the room. I was watching from my cozy office chair on YouTube. Work smarter, not harder. During that event, Mr. Dossi stated we would lose no public camping for the homeless. That's scary to some folks. That is false, though. Check out the Supreme Court ruling on that issue. Just check it out, read it. The finance director said property taxes would or could increase 160%. That's scary. Yeah, it is. But you have to check out the tax cap, right? It's right there. Dimensions the inflation rate of 5% or whichever number is lower. Look it up. Granted, your taxes may rise over time, but not overnight, like that PowerPoint said. The city attorney also mentioned crime-free housing and how it would disappear. Nope, that's wrong too. The reason that's false is because there are other cities that have those. They just don't discriminate. Okay? Read it. It's there. Okay? Which brings up another question. Does the city of Pekin discriminate now since they have it and they don't want to get rid of it? Anyway, I'll let you decide that. Then we have the city attorney. He mentions the Illinois Municipal League study from April 2003. I suggest reading that, okay? Since it's bipartisan, as he mentioned, not all was in favor of home rule. So I would take your time and read it. Also check out the May 13th, 2024 meeting about this home rule discussion. May 13th, 2024. Kate Swice sat right there and had a whole different story than what we're telling now. So watch that. It's great. So, 1987. That was a long time ago. I was 19 years old. I was in the Persian Gulf on USS Midway, CV-41. In fact, I would almost go on record to say most of the people in the city today probably weren't here.
I was.
And they also didn't have a 3% utility tax that home rule allowed you to put on everybody. Not tax, fee. Now, back to my opening. What is that, or who is it? I know what it is. It's council members like Mr. Abel. It's all he does is sets up there, votes yes. He doesn't read anything, no ideas, nothing. Yes, 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 yes. That's all he does. I went back several mayors to check out that track record. He is a yes man. And he brings zero information or ideas to the table. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go home, sit in my cozy chair, and watch the rest of Columbo. You guys have a fine night.
I think you're going to get wet. I think it's raining out. Anyone else wishing to have their voice be heard? Good evening. It should be green.
All right, he turned
There
it
you,
off.
there you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
All right, my name is Lori Shope. I'm actually from Mackinac, and you're wondering why I'm here. Maybe some of you have heard that I was thinking about coming. I went to the Morton Village Board meeting about a month ago, and after that visit, the next time they met, 2 weeks later, they passed an ordinance to ban kratom. I don't know if anyone's heard of kratom. If I need to spell it, please Google it, please do your research. It's spelled Kratom, and there's a derivative called 7-O, which is 13 times stronger than morphine. It attacks brain receptors, your brain stem. It's a very strong opioid, synthetic opioid, and it's at 6 or 7 of your establishments in Pekin. And it's being sold, this isn't enough, but it's being sold to 18-year-olds, and they're working on legislation to increase it to 21. That's not enough. You need to ban it. I had a son who's 30 years old. You think you raise your kids, you get them to be 30, they're working, they're living their lives, and they're building their dreams, and he goes into a gas station after his truck broke down, and the owner said, "You look like you're really tired. We've got a new pick-me-up. It's an energy drink." It says, "All natural." Well, it says all natural, but it ruined his life. And he's starting to rebuild, and we were actually here a couple weeks ago, and I'm sorry he wasn't able to speak, but it is 13 times stronger than morphine. I had him at a hospital, and the doctor is looking at him going, "Oh my God," I can see it in his eyes. The way his eyes were twitching, he was going through withdrawal from something he bought at a gas station in Pekin. And imagine you're a 30-year-old walking into a gas station, seeing a package, thinking it's a Monster drink, and taking it. And then 6 months later, can't hardly live without it. Goes through withdrawal with his doctor, gets clean, and then he's back on it. It's just like an opioid. If you can imagine the pain that it's caused in a family that, I mean, on every level, it's just like a drug addiction. But except it's called gas station heroin because it's sold at vape shops and it's sold at gas stations, and young kids can buy it. 18-year-olds are high school age kids. My son, yeah, probably should have known better not to trust something that said all natural. But, you know, all of us, I think at some point have seen some ad pop up on a social media or your news feed or something, and you think, oh, it's all natural, it's safe. It's not even FDA approved, and it's being sold. They don't even sell it in like 20 countries. It's banned. It's been banned in East Peoria. It's been banned in Wharton. It's been banned in about 8 cities, Tinley Park, a couple down south. It needs to be banned. If they're not going to step up and do what's right, and part of me thinks, okay, people that are alcoholics, or if you were a drug addict to cocaine or whatever, and you have to drive past those signs, but if you got addicted to something that was labeled all natural that you bought at the corner store, that's not right. And driving past all these stores, I have a list of them, the JB Hawks and Mr. Puffers and Eagle Smoke Shop, and they're making a crap ton of money. I almost said, they're making a lot of money on this because after 2 hours of taking 7-0, after your body gets used to it for a few times, you need it every 2 hours. It's just like some of the most addictive drugs that are out there on the street. 2 hours, it metabolizes, and you need it again. He couldn't pay his mortgage because he had to get Kratom. I don't know if anyone's aware of this. I know some people are. I've heard little rumors that maybe a couple of people around here are, but please
I'm
do
sorry to say
something.
you have 30 seconds. I am
I'm
so
done.
sorry.
I'm done. No, I get it, but please really think about it. Imagine if it was your grandchild or your son, your high school kid, sharing it with their co-student at school. They got it at a gas station. It's got to be safe. Our government wouldn't allow a synthetic opioid at a gas station.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Mr.
Yeah,
Dawson.
Mayor, I think contrary to what we heard before, this is exactly what home rule allows us to have the opportunity to do.
Correct.
And we have met with Ms. Hanley from the Health Department prior to my being gone last week, and we are well aware that Morton and East Peoria and I believe Creve Coeur have implemented the ordinance. Not only are we looking to implement the ordinance, We anticipate having that potentially the next meeting, but we're also looking at some of the zoning stuff that is involved as well, in particular on one shop that we have in town. No denying, there's an issue there. We're aware of it. We've been aware of it for some time, and we're in the process of taking the same action that other municipalities are doing. And it's going to be because of home rule. We have that ability to
That's
take
wonderful.
these matters in our ability.
Wonderful. I wanted you to not leave right away and hear that they are trying to
I hope
help
so.
everyone.
I mean, I didn't know about it either. And
Yeah.
if you would have told me, I would have said, really? It's not pot? It's called gas station heroin for a reason.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
thank
for
you,
having
Mr. Dossi. Anyone else from the public wishing to have their voice be heard? Seeing none, public input is now closed. Chair would now entertain a motion for the consent agenda, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that the following items on the consent agenda be approved. 6.1, financial reports through October 31st of '25. 6.2, accounts payable paid proof list through November 14th of '25. 6.3, receive and file fiscal year 2025 through 2026 budget transfers through November 18th, 2025. 6.4, receive and file Greater Peoria Economic Development Council quarterly report. 6.5, receive and file quotes for the installation of a 3-inch RPZ backflow device at City Hall. 6.6, receive and file request for proposal for property and liability risk management and insurance consulting services. 6.7, cancel the regularly scheduled City Council meeting of December 22nd, 2025. 6.8, ordinance number 4355-25/26, approving a First Amendment to the agreement for purchase and sale of real property with JPG Commercial Real Estate, LLC, to extend the due diligence period. 6.9, ordinance number 4356-25/26, approving a variance at 1021 Hamilton Street to reduce building setbacks for a swimming pool. Case V as in Victor 2025-12. 6.10, ordinance number 4357-25/26, approving a variance at 1221 Maple Street to reduce the front building setback to allow for construction of a porch. Case V as in Victor 2025-13. 6.11, ordinance number 4358-25/26, approving a variance at 1 Rosewood Lane to allow for the construction of a shed on a residential non-conforming lot. Case V as in Victor 2025-14. 6.12, ordinance number 4359-25/26, approving a special use permit for Katana Hibachi and Sushi for the operation of an open front walk-up food trailer at 1201 North 8th Street. Case SU 2025-08. 6.13, ordinance number 4360-25/26, approving a special use for Pekin Alignment and Auto Body Incorporated for the operation of an automobile repair shop with short-term auto storage at 716 Court Street. Case SU 2025-09. 6.14, ordinance number 4361-25/26, approving a site plan for the Center of Prevention of Abuse for the construction of a commercial building at 121 South 2nd Street. Case SPR 2025-06. 6.15, ordinance number 4362-25/26, approving a site plan for Epic Pharma Solutions Incorporated for the construction of a commercial building located at 405 Hannah Drive. Case SPR 2025-07. 6.16, resolution number 361-25/26, amending the City of Pekin procurement policy number 21 regarding contracts with entities not in good standing. All be approved.
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and read by Mr. Fletcher, second by Ms. Phillips. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the consent agenda? Oh, Mr. Abel.
Ordinance, or number 613, and I have no battery working in this mic, so I'm sorry. I just have a question. Since the most recent new auto body was E3 over here, they had to have a fence put around their property. Will this also have to be required to do that,
No.
as it's going to store?
Currently, they will store all vehicles inside the building. If business grows, they would construct a fence outside in that area.
Okay. It was just brought to my attention by neighbors around that area that they hoped that there would be a way of concealing the storage of vehicles outside, so, thank you.
Anyone else? So with your question answered, we can now vote on that, correct? His question was answered, okay. Council, take your vote, please. Did everyone have a chance to vote? Oh, there we go. Motion passes 7-0. We have now come down to new business. Chair would entertain a motion for 7.1, please.
Madam Mayor, I move the resolution number 362-25/26 approving Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association for year 2026 renewal invoice be approved.
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Ms. Phillips. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. The city has utilized Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association for its workers' compensation and general liability insurance for the last several years. At council's direction, an RFP was issued on June 23rd, 2025 to solicit quotes for the city's insurance needs. The city received the following 3 quotes. Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association at $1,297,576. Illinois County Risk Management Trust submitted by the Unland Group at $1,923,623. And Travelers Insurance submitted by Worthy Insurance, $1,847,188. The 3 RFP proposals, along with a summary, were provided to council members on November 10th, 2025. Due to the significant differences in premiums and program features, including coverage limits, low deductibles, claim service, defense counsel experience, on-site training, and contract reviews, staff recommends maintaining the Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association as the preferred risk management insurance provider for the city of Pekin. Upon approval, the city will pay its annual invoice to the Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association for professional risk management services and insurance coverage beginning January 1st of 2026. The invoice outlines 3 options for the 2026 annual contribution payment. We have received approval, although being paid after the stated due date, to take a 1% discount totaling $12,975.76. If paid in full by November 26, 2025, after applying this discount, the amount due is $1,284,600.24. The city's annual Illinois Municipal League dues of $2,000 are also included in the invoice, bringing the total amount owed to $1,286,600.24. Staff is recommending approval of the resolution, and the financial impact is outlined in the section of the financial impact on there.
Any questions from council? Mr. Nutter.
I want to say after 6 years, we finally went out for an RFP on insurance. That's just my time here. I think probably before we never went out for quotes. Excellent. However, there were some questions brought up that I think the public needs to be aware of. And I have some concerns. I know some other council members have some concerns. Number one is the deductible amount of only $500. So Joe average individual wants to get car insurance, house insurance. The bigger the deductible, the less the payment in most cases. And then we come across to cybersecurity, which I believe is a very, very, very low number, and on and on and on. There are some other things in here that just happen to pop up. So we get a discount just on a handshake or on a written agreement? Is it just a verbal agreement that if we pass this, or is it written somewhere?
I can answer
It-
that.
okay.
I sent an email just because we were past the due date and got approval by way of email that they would honor the 1% discount if we overnight it tomorrow.
Thank you.
So, okay. So I'm just concerned that another issue that I could not find in the contract is if and when we disband the bus department, what happens to the premium at that point in time? Is there a written agreement with RMA that we are renegotiating the contract? Or does it just happen to fall, both, not only for vehicles, but also personnel? So I didn't see that, and if I missed it, I apologize if it was in there.
I think like everything, until it's done, they're not gonna make a committing number on it. We know it's going to go down. We have an email with the estimate, I believe. Shelley, if you have that, it's significant. It's between, I think it's roughly, if Bob's even here.
$125,000.
125 to like 150,000 estimate. We believe it might be more, based on some numbers that we kind of crunched on our end. But until it's disbanded and gone and out, we don't have that number right there on that. But we do have an email where it's in the ballpark and it's close to where we're at.
Okay, that's fair enough. If we got documentation to back that up, that's wonderful.
Would that have to come back to the council for approval?
I don't believe so, because it's a reduction. We're not spending any more money.
So it'd have to come back to the council as a budget adjustment or amendment. Well, it's going down, yeah, it's going down. Well, doesn't matter if it goes down or up. Isn't the budget amendments either way?
No,
Oh, just going down or going up?
yeah.
Budget to a capacity to expend. We budget to a capacity to expend. So if we go down, we're under it. That's the approval.
That's what you want to be, under the budget. But over the budget and revenue.
May I?
I don't know
Yes.
if he's
Yeah,
done.
I'm
Oh,
finished.
Well, but I wanted to follow up
Ms.
on that,
Phillips.
I think the way it works, in my limited experience, if we realize that we have made a permanent savings, we budget $2 million, and we find out that, hey, it's only going to be 1.8 this year, we can choose to reauthorize that $200,000 difference and say, boy, we didn't budget enough for this other catastrophe we didn't see coming. So we'll move this, we'll lower this one, so we can increase that one. So yes, we do move things around, but the idea is that we wash it out to make it all fit, not that we always go back and lower the budget.
As long as that can be a legitimate line item to line item, that it can be transferred.
That would be your budget amendment that we've incorporated now, if
Correct.
that were to be the case.
So, thank
Go ahead.
you.
And that does come to you through
Yes,
consent.
yes. So another, excuse me, another issue that surfaced here a couple months ago, workman's comp. So here's my question. We got workman comp cases that are 3 years old plus. So now let's say we go into this year and all of a sudden we have $1 million claim on a workman comp claim from 3 years ago. That coming out of the just general fund somewhere, reserves, how's that gonna work? Because I understand, I saw Shelley's note, which is great, the workman comp dollars are down, but that's just for the ones that have been paid off. What about the ones this year that haven't been paid off that keep going on? This seems to be thank you. It seems to be something that we don't really get a really straight answer on, and sometimes we're getting a $500,000, $750,000 hit in the middle of the year because something got settled. So you have the floor.
Yeah, so my name's Eric Little. I'm with the RMA. So what you're referring to, I believe, is the Min-Max program that the city used to be a part of. It clearly didn't work for you. So you've been out of that, what, 3 years now?
Yeah, we've been out
So
of it for a
now what you're in is just the standard premium like any other insurance. You pay it at the beginning of the year, and then we handle all the claims. So there won't be any additional bills from those old claims. Not within the last 3 years or so, since you've not been in the Min-Max. With the years you were in the Min-Max are still open until all those claims are closed. I think several of those you've hit the max on. I don't have that information with me, but.
And can I add, we're doing a better job at budget time of figuring out what the estimated budget is needed to cover the charges for the upcoming years.
A lot of that Min-Max is winding down, you know.
It's great news.
Significantly
Yes.
wound down this past year.
Yes.
Several cases closed. The lawsuits and everything had closed. So when we had our last legal update, that list was significantly smaller. Now,
Yes.
workman's comp, there's a handful in there, and I think they try to give us the best guesstimate so we can budget for that, and we'll probably do that again this year. I don't think it's going to be as significant as it was the past couple of years, but you know, I have to look at the list. I don't have it in front of me.
Sure. So explain to me why the deductible is so low.
I was gonna ask if I could address that, yeah.
Go ahead and
Yeah, that's
explain that
really-
one, because that one confuses me.
I know, and that's really just how our program is designed. You know, our program specializes in municipalities, that's all we do. Our board of directors is all mayors, and it's really a testament to our board. They've decided to keep those deductibles low to help with budgeting purposes. You know, if you've got $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 deductibles, you're constantly paying additional money out of pocket, worse than the Min-Max would have been, probably. So that's why. That's our board's decision to keep those deductibles low. You know, I wish I could get a 500 on my own homeowners, you know, like you have on
Don't
this
we all?
building right here. I would love that. But nobody offers that. We're the only one that really offers that. And it's been a good benefit for us. That's why we've been successful and why we're growing still. And we're competitive at that even.
So with the list that you provided with all the municipalities and all the different counties, is it across the board for all these people? It's $500?
Mostly. We do have a few exceptions. There are a few of the larger members we've brought in recently who came from 100% self-insured. So they're used to paying everything out of pocket.
Right.
We did do a little higher deductible on just maybe 3 of those that I can think of. Just because they already had that appetite for that setup, and we're trying it. It honestly didn't, I don't know that it saves them a whole lot, but it seems to be working for them.
One last question.
Yeah.
You think our cybersecurity side of the business is too low?
It probably is, and we talked about that. We had a safety committee meeting here, was that October last month, I think? And we talked about that with Mr. Dossi. We can get up to $1 million. We can get higher limits, and that's something, there's a very extensive application to do that, and we send it into our carrier. We don't cover the cyber ourselves. Somebody else does that for us under our program. So they would have to approve that, get back to us on the pricing and everything. But we can get up to $1 million.
And I think a lot of it you have to take into consideration, and, you know, I'm by far no IT guru here, but, you know, we have outsourced to some experts in this field, and, you know, backup is important, and that's a lot of what we are addressing through CJIS, to be within the Department of Justice standards, which helps us immensely in a lot of things that we're doing. I know when Nextdoor, I don't think they paid any ransom. They just went to their backup and they restored everything. And that was your coverage, is the teams came in, they took out the bad stuff, put in the good stuff, and they went back to operations. It took them a little bit of time, but that's where it's important on our back end and our backup that we have the good data stored and doing things, and that's the redundancy that we've been with IT 360 complying. So, you know, there's a thing called insurance poor. You know, there's some people go and over-insure because they anticipate the worst thing, but if you have the best practice in, you know, those are the things we're trying to weigh, and I'm going to rely on IT 360 and some of that expertise to tell us where we're at once they get all the CJIS stuff completely implemented, and then we will come back and revisit whether or not we want to increase that kind of coverage or leave it where it's at.
That's all I got.
Any other council have questions for Mr. Little or Mr. Dossi? Okay. Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 6-1. Chair would now entertain a motion for 7.2, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that resolution number 363-25/26 approving and adopting a classification and compensation plan for non-bargain positions be approved.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Hoheimer and second by Mr. Abel. Once again, Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. Several key positions were vacated in, hang on one second here. My computer's acting up. Several key positions were vacated and proved difficult to fill between 2022 and 2025, including the following positions. The city manager took 10 months, finance director 11 months, HR director 10 months, assistant city engineer. Several postings were implemented but never filled. City engineer was out for 2 months with no qualified applicants, and a risk manager was out for 9 months and never filled. On January 13th, 2025, City Council approved a service agreement with MGT of America Consulting to perform a compensation study for $28,830. The deliverables included conducting an analysis of 42 non-bargain positions, updated or newly developed job descriptions, and recommended salary ranges based on competitive market data. In preparation of the classification and compensation plan, MGT's analyzed the city's position over 7 months, which included identifying and surveying comparable communities, compiling minimum and maximum ranges for the 40 positions, drafting a proposal for 11 pay grades, and drafting updates for 40 job description using wage data, job factor criteria, and input from employees and leadership. City leadership met with council members to present the findings, address questions, and provide the classification and compensation study report. Job descriptions and other requested information were also shared for review. The study resulted in the attached classification and compensation plan recommended by MGT. Based on MGT's thorough analysis, methodology, and recommendation, the staff recommends adoption of the proposed classification and compensation plan, which is attached in Exhibit A. And Shelley is available for questions, and I believe we have a representative on the phone from MGT that can answer further questions.
Yep. Katie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome.
Hi, Katie.
Thank you.
Any questions of Mr. Dossi or Katie from council? Mr. Hilst.
So I'll start off with under financial impact. It says there'll be no financial impact. So that leads to my next question. What exactly are we approving? Everything that was in their study? Is everything in here getting approved by this vote? Or are we voting for salary changes on increases in salaries? Are we voting for merit raises and stipends? What all does this entail that we're voting on?
Shelley, you
Shelley?
wanna-
Sure. I would say we're voting for the structure of the classification and compensation plan. So the summary document that we provided as an attachment, the ranges and the grades.
So the salaries, the minimum and maximum salaries, that's what's being approved,
The ranges, yep,
and that's it,
yes.
okay? Out of those, how many employees' salaries are gonna be increased by this vote?
The results of the survey came back as 5 people under the minimum ranges. And then we recommended looking at 3 additional positions to look at their salary, look at their job title, things like that. But that is all yet to come. I think step 1 is approving the salary ranges. John, you can speak to that more.
So we're gonna be basically approving bits and pieces of this at separate times? So there'll be a financial impact on some of the other things moving forward also, other than just what we're voting on tonight?
I don't know that those things go to council. I'll let someone else with more expertise
Well, that
answer
would
that
be even a
question.
bigger problem, in my opinion. So I won't sit up here and harp on this too long. I'll just give my quick opinions on it. I think that, in my opinion, that our non-union employees that work for the city make a pretty good fair salary currently. I think when you add in the benefit package with the health insurance and the sick days, personal days, holidays, vacation, pension, I think that's a pretty fruitful package, in my opinion. And I don't ever hear anybody talk about affordability, and I don't think the city at this time can afford to just start increasing everybody's salaries. One other thing I don't like about this, and this is not a personal jab at you, Trent, by any means, it's just that your position, period, no matter who's in that position, but under the chief's job description for the fire department, it allows him to participate in labor negotiations. And in my opinion, I think that's a conflict of interest. I don't like that either. And
Absolutely
that's
not.
all I'm gonna say about it. Thank you.
Absolutely not. That is not a conflict of interest. He is to be in the negotiation team, part of the negotiating team.
Just my opinion.
Okay, and
Mayor?
I get it, yes.
Can Rick explain why he thinks it's a conflict of interest?
Because he's the leader of that fire department. He's supposed to be in charge of operations of that department, not being involved in labor negotiations with salaries and things of that nature.
That's part of
That's
the
my opinion.
operation.
The chief has been for quite a few years, right?
That's part of the operation.
Been involved, not just this chief, but previous.
Seth, I didn't see that language in your guys' description. Is that in there also?
I don't want to misspeak on the language. We do participate in the labor negotiations, if that is your direct question. We do, as chiefs, we do sit in because we are kind of the resident experts when questions come up from our attorneys about how the processes work or what we actually do. Then we're there to be able to answer the questions, but as actively participating in the negotiations, the attorneys are the labor rep for the union. They do most of the actual bargaining. We're there as a resource.
Are you
to be able
guys
to
at the
answer.
table when they're negotiating?
Yes.
Okay, well, I didn't see that language in your guys' description, so I hold the same opinion for the police department.
And
too.
I will just offer, having come from another municipality and being involved with many municipalities, the chiefs, fire, and police are typically at the table negotiating.
Okay.
And I'm,
Public Works as well sits at the table with the various departments and negotiates. Usually the department head has involvement.
and I'm going to say that coming from another governmental entity, department heads do participate in the negotiations.
The school superintendents sit in on all negotiations also.
I'm not arguing that they do. I just don't agree with it.
Well, I can't believe that everybody's wrong and you're the only one that's right, though.
No, it's his opinion. He's entitled to that.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Oh, Ms. Phillips?
Well, As a CPA, I have an opportunity to look at a lot of various salary packages. And I do want to say that I did review this with another CPA this weekend. And based on our experience of seeing what other people get compensated, the ranges seem to be reasonable to us. And I would also like to speak in defense of the public service. When you say that they're getting all these comps that people in, regular jobs don't get, when we did the comparison study, we looked at people who are in the same type of municipalities. So all of the benefits and things are comparable. They're already taken into account in the study, as far as I'm aware. And Shelley's nodding yes, for those of you who can't see her. So I'm going to assume I'm right. Now,
You are.
thank you. It's very common in government for citizens to look and say, when I retired in 1990, I was making $50,000 a year. And I can't believe that someone now is getting paid $100,000 a year to do something I think is easier than I used to do. And that's a natural instinct that we all have. But our job here is to keep and hire good employees. And if we want to have our staff be the highest quality staff we can attract, we at least have to have our rates within the market of our competitors. I understand it feels like, wow, that person they're getting, but I also know how much experience and expertise goes into government work. The work that they do is not the same work that somebody at SEFCU or Silco or just doing any other normal job. We're not normal. And on that note, I'd like to say that we're not normal, but we are a normal city government. And I think that these challenges are ubiquitous, and I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater saying that we think so-and-so and so-and-so might get overcompensated, when the fact is that if we don't make the positions competitive, we're not going to be able to keep our good employees.
Peg, you are 100% right in things that you did say, and I want us all to remember, we are voting on the frame of it all together. We are not voting on an individual. You have to take the individual out of that position, and remember, you are voting on a wage study. Ms. Hoheimer had something to say.
With the wage study being done, I think you need to look at the fact that if you don't want to pay people what the wage study has agreed, a minimum and maximum, you're going to have a revolving door, and with a revolving door, you have constantly people having to be trained, and that costs money too. You can't just keep saying, we're going to pay you less than the minimum because we don't think that job deserves that. Well, then you're just going to have people that are going to come in, they're going to get trained, they're going to do the job well, and they're going to leave, and they're going to go somewhere where they're going to make that money. So,
True. Anyone else from the council?
Yes.
Mr. Nutter?
Just want to make sure, this is salary ranges only and not pay grades? If you disagree with the pay grade of somebody in a particular pay grade we disagree with, we're only talking about salaries. Or are we talking about pay grades also?
I don't know if I'm understanding the question. The
Okay.
pay grades are within the salary ranges that you
Yeah.
see here. The pay grade is, so it is the attachment, it is the classification schedule you're looking at in the packet.
And we are not taking any consideration at all on any changes? Because here's something I want to bring up. In a memo you sent, we're talking about public property supervisor, and this has nothing to do with name. provide a bump now and again next fiscal year. Is that what we're talking about too, or is that a separate issue altogether? Are any raises, any bumps dependent on the budget and financial availability?
If we're talking about individual positions, then, yeah, we would be looking at the budget, and that's why that recommendation was made, because that position is currently coming in below the current below the recommended pay grade. So that's why that position was made.
That's why I'm asking. I just want to make sure that we aren't doing something automatic because we passed this range in here.
Councilmember
Yeah,
Nutter, if I could phrase it a different way for you, passing this schedule of pay will not authorize additional budget spending. That would require a budget amendment. So if there's a particular position that the city manager wants to authorize a payroll increase to, he would only be able to do so if council has given him the budget authority to do so. Otherwise, he would need to come to you for approval.
Well, that's a good point, because
Well said.
on one of these other sheets we got here recently in one of our meetings, it says that general payroll is predicted to be $500,000 more in next year's budget. And this wage study is a part of that. So that's a cut you could be making in the budget, but you're not gonna be making that cut if you approve it.
But when you approve the budget next year, you could direct staff that, hey, a majority of council would like to reduce the payroll in all of these departments by 10%, and, that would have to be incorporated upon a
How are
majority
you
of-
gonna reduce it? You're gonna reduce somebody's salary?
That'd be upon the city manager and his staff to try to figure out if that's what you told him to do.
You could always fire people too.
And not fill positions.
I just
Fire
think,
and not refill.
Yeah, that-
I think the timing on this is just not good. I expressed that opinion. We're sitting here wanting to do this. I get it. I've been through it before. And yes, we need to pay at the level measurable communities have. But I think the timing is just wrong. We don't know where we're
When's the
gonna go
timing right?
with a levy.
When's the timing right? I came in
When-
23 and
Probably
I
at
had to
budget
fill the
time.
department head spots.
Budget time.
And
I-
we struggled. I mean, we were all over the place. This is reining it in, and it's giving us a roadmap moving forward to say, here's the minimum, here's the maximum, based on qualifications. And, if we go through and we make some changes, budget time's upon us right now. And yeah, it's been tough since I've walked into this position, and since 2023.
And it's been tough sitting up here trying to make those decisions when it comes to that.
There's a lot
So,
of fixing that we've been
there-
doing for the
a lot.
past 3 years now.
So
So,
we all have our opinions on this, just like everything else, so.
Anyone else? Were you done? Yeah. I think that for far too long, things have been kicked down the road. I'm not saying that there aren't things that we need to push off. This isn't one of them. This has not been done in the city for quite some time. I want to thank the staff for moving forward to come up with a plan and present it to us finally. So I think if we get the framework of a wage study in place, and then when budgeting comes around, then you move forward with, do we have the money to follow through with our plan?
I agree with that. I mean, you're right. We have gone far too long without a good study, and thank you, MGT, because you did an excellent job with this. Better than I've seen in a long time. Are we all going to agree with the outcome? Probably not. But to move forward, that's the best thing when it comes to budget time. Let's see if we're financially able to do and put the level in there on these that we want to change, so.
Excellent.
So just for
Mr. Fletcher.
clarification, we're gonna, if this passes, we're basically saying this is the grades for each department, each person, this is the range. but in no way are we giving any raises, bringing anybody to the minimum that may be below it until budget time. Is that correct?
This is our
We're not
guidelines.
putting nobody's getting a raise until this council decides there's money to budget for that. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's what I need to know.
I think he said correct, correct?
Well, I think we got some different looks in the back of the room. Mr. Grogan, do you agree with that statement? Shelley? You know,
I just simply, it's John's call on how that works. I mean, if there was budget room, the reason I was, making the question you face, if there was budget room right now, the adjustment can be made now if there was room in the budget. If, we had an open, like there is a department that's been had of vacancies or things like that, you could then do it as long as you're staying within, as was said before, as Josh said, as long as you're staying within the budget that the board gave to, the staff to do. So it's just but if John, it's up to John whether that happens or not.
And I
John's
think you're looking at, I think there's some that are substantial, and there's some that are very minimal, that would bring them in line. So those are things you'd look at, but I don't, as long as it's within budget, correct.
Mr. Vasselli, did you want to say something?
Mr. Fletcher, you asked an excellent question, and I just want you to think it's two separate acts. Like, this is setting kind of the table and giving you all a learned opinion about this. Think of this as like a comprehensive plan, and like the background and the parameters of what we're trying to do, and then the actual raise is a completely separate verb. It's a separate action. So your question is answered in the affirmative. This would not independently give any raises going forward. This isn't like all boats go up, if that makes sense. This is just literally, they took the comps, they put them in paper, now you guys have them to see where we're at. Think of it as more of an educational or learning tool to assist staff and the manager with decisions, and you ultimately with the decisions, than an actual verb of raising any monies to anybody. Does that help?
Not really. So here's the thing. I understand the ranges. I understand what's in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm getting at is this passes, and then John says, yeah, that guy is $3,000 under his minimum. We have it. We're going to spend it. Well, we don't have $3,000 to fix potholes. So then my phone will start ringing tomorrow.
Sure.
And want to know why this happened. That's why I asked the question. Are we going to give somebody a raise before the budget comes in, or are we not? I want a yes or a no. That's all I need.
I thought your question was, does this raise everyone's salary? That's what I thought your question was. Okay, it's
the individuals.
Correct.
It's whatever council wants to do. If you're telling us no, we'll hold off till we go through budget.
I'm not saying that this plan in front of us
some
is
of
not right.
Well, some of it's giving you the minimum and maximum. If somebody's $1,000 off from their minimum,
right,
we're being recommended they should be at. The question is, do we go ahead and pay them that $1,000 if the money's within the budget threshold for the remainder of this budget cycle? Do we do that?
Okay.
Now, you have some that are more, significantly more. Those, I could say, we probably should wait till we do budget time, and we see where that money falls into place and where everything's at.
So you won't have any internal problems with giving somebody some money and somebody else know they have to wait?
Depending on what the exact circumstances are.
Okay, I think you've answered my question. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 4-3. Chair would now entertain a motion for 7.3, please.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that resolution number 364-25/26, approving the quote for installation of a 3-inch RPZ backflow device at City Hall with, I'll go with Wiegand Plumbing of Illinois, be adopted.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hilst and second by Mr. Nutter. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. City staff recently conducted an inspection of the existing plumbing system at City Hall and identified the absence of a proper backflow prevention device on the domestic water system. In an effort to address this proactively, staff obtained quotes from 3 qualified plumbing contractors. Wiegand Plumbing, Inc. of Illinois did provide the lowest quote. All 3 quotes fall within the minor purchasing categories defined by the city's procurement policy. However, the cost exceeds the city manager's spending authority. Accordingly, this expenditure is being presented to the city council for consideration and approval. The resolution is authorizing the installation of a 3-inch RPZ backflow prevention device at City Hall by Wiegand Plumbing, Inc. of Illinois. The proposal includes the installation of the RPZ device, all required copper piping, valves, pipe insulation, and testing of the system upon completion. Additional details are provided in the attached proposal included in Exhibit A, and staff is recommending approval. And being this is plumbing and Mr. McQuoid's expertise, he can answer any questions.
Any questions from council? With no questions, are you thinking? I do want to say thank you for being proactive, active instead of reacting on something. So thank you so much. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 7.4, please.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that resolution number 365-25/26, authorizing additional spending authority for fiscal year 26 sewer lining project be adopted.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Hilst and second by Mr. Nutter. Mr. Dossi, once again.
Thank you, Mayor. September 22nd of 25, City Council meeting, the City of Pekin awarded HARE the fiscal year 2026 sanitary sewer lining project in the amount of $97,250 to complete lining projects on Herman Street, West Shore Drive, and Summer Street. The competitive bids for this project also included alternative bid prices for any unforeseen work that the city may determine to be necessary to be included in this project. Since the project award, city staff has identified 2 additional areas in need of lining, including 2 sections on Rose Court and an area on Main Street. Staff believes it is prudent to add these sections now, as this additional lining can be completed at the same time as the previously contracted sections, and the city will not have a second mobilization cost for the project. Staff is requesting an additional $30,000 of spending authority to address these additional areas that have been identified. The City of Pekin had budgeted up to $250,000 of sanitary sewer lining for the fiscal year. With the awarded project amount plus the change order, this project will be approved up to $127,250, which is within the budgeted project amount. Staff is recommending approval.
Any questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. I think. There we go. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 7.5, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that resolution number 366-25/26, amending the agreement with Fire Trucks Unlimited for the refurbishment of a fire engine be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Ms. Phillips. Sorry, I wasn't sure who said it first, but Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. As part of the Fire Department's Fleet Improvement Program, City Council previously approved a proposal from Fire Trucks Unlimited to refurbish the 2007 Pierce fire engine. Since that approval in September of '24, the condition of some of the Fire Department's fleet has changed significantly, and staff would now like to send a different fire engine in place of the 2007 Pierce. The Fire Trucks Unlimited contract through Sourcewell is not specific to any particular apparatus, and they have agreed to honor the current contracted price and other terms should the city send a different but similar fire engine. While no financial terms of the agreement are changing with this approval, staff reminds council that the refurbishment process includes upgrading, repairing, and refinishing components of fire apparatus to transform it into a like-new condition. Fire Trucks Unlimited expects a full second life for an apparatus after refurbishment. The proposed work is quoted at $521,773 with 50% already paid in fiscal year '25 after approval of the proposal. Council approved up to $600,000 to execute the known contract amount and any unexpected change order needs, which is affirmed herein. The expected completion time to work is approximately 6 months after the work begins. Staff is recommending approval of this resolution, and Chief Reese would be available to answer any questions.
Anyone have questions for Mr. Reese? Chief Reese, sorry. Mr. Hilst.
Oops, I'm sorry, go ahead. No, your turn.
So I just got a couple, well, basically one question, kind of a two-part, but appreciate the information you put out earlier. That answered a couple other questions I had, but the one I've got now is about the ARPA money. Because when this was originally approved last year, it said that there was gonna be ARPA money used, and that money had to be spent by the end of December of this year. So if the truck hasn't even been sent away yet, we're not gonna pay that other 50% until the work's completed, according to what it says. Then how are we gonna spend that money by the end of this year?
That money is spent at this point. We're now into local funds. We've reached that gap, essentially. So we are good with that. We're not going to lose that money.
There was some.
So the $250,000 down payment, that was ARPA money, and what we've
Correct.
got left to pay is not?
Correct. At some point, we were gonna breach into local funds, essentially, and we've hit that point.
Okay.
Between the tower and the down payments for this.
Okay.
Yep.
That answers that, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's good, because we don't want to give any money back.
Right, yep, so we're all good on that.
Yeah, yeah. Mr. Netter, I think you had a question. Oh, he answered it?
Rick stole my question, but that's okay in comments.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. Any other question from council? Chief Reese, I do want to appreciate, or tell you how much we appreciate you bringing this to us, even though it's still a vehicle that we are refurbishing. You were being very transparent with us on that it is a different vehicle. So thank you.
Thank you.
Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 7.6, please.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, I move that ordinance number 4363, 25/26, abatement of taxes on wastewater treatment plant bonding of $4,385,000, which was ordinance number 2870 back in 19/20. Be approved.
Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Ms. Phillips again. Mr. Dossi.
I'm going to have Eric go ahead and present.
Okay. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. So the city's wastewater bonds that were reissued in 2020, they're paid through user fees, but they're backed by general obligation dollars. There's more than enough user fees to pay the debt service this year, so we don't need to levy a tax for this. So we're recommending an abatement, so it doesn't go on the tax rolls.
Okay. Any question from council? Oh, Ms. Phillips.
Sorry. Mr. Dabrowski, please help me understand. I think what's going on is when we passed the bonds, we told the people who bought our bonds, we promise we won't default on this because we can levy our citizens and make them pay for this.
That is correct. And
So
we
far.
also-
Okay, and then we had a plan that said, look, the wastewater treatment plant is a enterprise entity fund. It's a special governmental thing. You and I get it. Nobody else cares. So we say it should be self-supporting. And we have the wastewater fees that we're charging. so that the cost of the plant is more evenly attributed to the people who are using the wastewater. And so it's more fair to do it through a fee than it is to do it through a tax levy, according to the operating assumption.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nutter.
I understood all that.
Yeah, I
Very
did
good,
too.
Peg.
I said, thank you. Mr. Nutter.
So, do you know how much off the top of your head we still owe on this?
I think he does.
But I know he can find it.
Give me 1 minute. Funding, I can tell you that at the end of April 30th of '26, it would be $2,320,000.
2,320,000.
320.
2,320,000. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for 7.7, please.
Madam Mayor. I'd like to move that we adopt ordinance number 4364-2526, making, levying, and assessing municipal taxes in the city of Pekin, Tazewell, and Peoria counties, Illinois, for the fiscal year from May 1, 2025 to April 30, 2026, and known as the annual levy ordinance.
Second?
Motion made by Ms. Phillips and second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi.
Mayor, I'm going to have Eric go ahead and present on this one as well.
Mr. Dabrowski once again.
Thank you. So last month, we had a lengthy discussion about actuarial valuations on the two.
Is your mic on? I'm not hearing you very well.
There you go. It's on.
Okay, good. Maybe I need to go closer. All right, so last month, we had, is that too loud? No? Good, okay. We had a rather lengthy discussion about the two pension funds, about their actuarial valuations, started having a discussion about tax levy, different scenarios. We did have a series of meetings with all the council members just to kind of talk about it and kind of gauge interests for the numbers tonight. So as you may recall, the levy supports police and fire pension contributions, as well as library funding for their operations, as well as their debt service on the 2014 bonds. And I know Jeff Brooks is in the audience tonight too, if there's any specific questions on the library. So in a nutshell, pension costs, they exceed what the levy can cover. We know that, even with an increase. The pension funding gap, the actuarially recommended pension contributions this year, $7.6 million. Even at the minimum required at $6.18 million. Levy doesn't cover those figures. The city still needs to supplement, depending on the different scenarios and where you go tonight, another $600,000 to $1.8 million that comes from other revenue sources. So a lot of this goes back to the fact that costs have risen much faster than the city's levy has over the past decade. Really dealing with inflation has a large factor to do with this as well. Moderate increase helps maintain the real value of this revenue. You know, inflation does eat into that. The staff recommendation for tonight, as presented, the city corporate levy, as shown in the ordinance, is 4.9% increase on the city portion. It's about $5.3 million. The library levy overall, inclusive of debt, is about $1.8 million. Total levy at $7,111,958. The impact to the homeowner, average market value of a home of $135,000. For the city and library combined, it's about $25.68 per year. Keep in mind that new growth that comes on the tax rolls will help spread the levy across more properties. I know that said, this is a lot of different opinions on this topic.
based on the discussions that we had tonight, even though staff recommends a 4.9, I took the scenarios that were most frequently discussed in our meetings and left the summaries at your spots and in the front row here as well, because I'm sure there's going to be some discussion. So we have that. I also can adjust things if need be here. I'm happy to answer questions as we go through. And John, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Any questions from council? Council,
There was a lot of silence.
yeah.
And I feel like that this needs more discussion. We've had various numbers kicked around. It's mentioned that we might go 0, we might go 4.9. We could split the baby here and go basically at 2.5, 2.9, 3%. Ultimately, the question is really whether we want to fund this liability through the levy or whether we want to fund this liability through other sources. Because we have an obligation to come up with the money from somewhere. So I personally, I would like for the other council members to convince me how to vote on this. This is my first time getting to vote on a levy, oh boy. And I really would like to hear where you're at on whether you think the 4.9 is right, whether you think we ought to stick with the 0. What do you want to do?
Well, first of all, before I let the rest of the council talk, I do want to say that, Peg, I would love nothing more, or the rest of the council, not just you, but I would love nothing more than to be able to pass this levy along with our budgeting. Unfortunately, we have to turn this in December to the county. So I wish that we could do all of it together, because then we would have a much better, clearer picture of our finances, but unfortunately we can't. So I do want to tell you why we have to get it done now. But with your question, does anybody want to speak to anyone?
I'll start on that.
Okay.
So my opinion on this is to keep it at 0, don't raise it at all. And the reason for that, one of the reasons anyway, so last calendar year, we had several different fees and taxes and increases that were approved in a one-night vote, and part of those were some new utility taxes. And we were told at that time the reason that staff was bringing those to implement those new taxes for the utilities was for 2 particular reasons. One, for the recent mandated spending for our ADA transition plan, and the other was for funding the pensions. And now we're being asked to increase everybody's property taxes to also pay for the pensions. So my opinion is we do it from other sources and we take it out of the revenue from those utility taxes that everybody's been having to pay. That's my take.
Anyone else?
Well, I'm going to go a different route. Mr. Brooks, step up to the podium, please. I got a question regarding the library, then I'll go to ours. This is for clarification because I've never quite understood the library functionality, how things work. So you have a board? Okay, and the board went through and approved this when? Yeah, the 4.9.
Well, the board approved the levy at the last meeting in October.
Okay.
The
So
fourth
have you-
Tuesday.
Okay, so have you also prepared a budget for the library?
Yes, I have one right here. So unlike, I think, most departments, let me share something with you, first of all, why we have to do this. So 78% of our resources to fund the library come from the levy.
Yeah, we'll pass them down.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, I became director around the time when Mayor Tebben was mayor, and back then, there was a push to do the levy and the city budget at the same time. So I've kind of stuck to that schedule because in order for me to know how much I need to levy, I have to know what my expenses are for next year. For the city, you have actuarials for, that's what you spend your levy on. It's really easy. But for us, it's, it's our bread and butter. Excuse me, primarily. I don't speak up here very often, sorry. So yes, I do have a budget that your library board, finance committee reviewed in September. We tweaked it. We brought it to we brought it to the board in September as a draft. It was tweaked in October with the finance committee, and then they had a levy recommendation, which you see on your sheets tonight.
Thank you for the explanation, because I wasn't real clear how this whole thing worked through the library. Because you're kind of ahead of the game, and now I know why you are budget-wise. Ours is similar but different. So thank you for that. That's the only question I have about that. The overall comment about the levy, if it's 0 to 4.9, it doesn't matter what the number is, we still got a lot of work ahead of us to the budget. If it's 0, we got one heck of a challenge. If it's 4.9, you still got a challenge. So I'm leaning on the side that we need to do a couple things. And Nick, I commend you for what you've been doing, and Josh and everybody. We need to get the assessments on these properties that have been sitting out there for a couple years without the assessments being fair and equal. So if we can do that, there's a revenue source that we know we've been missing a large number for years. So, and there's some activity going on next week, Rick?
It's the Wednesday after Thanksgiving.
Wednesday after Thanksgiving, there is a meeting in the county. The assessors are going to talk about assessments, 9 o'clock in the morning in the county building. So there's an opportunity, possibility for more revenue. I'm like Rick, I just don't like keep adding and adding and adding because we haven't gone back to utilize what we already are charging the citizens. So that's my input.
I certainly have an opinion, but I'm going to let the rest of the council speak if they so choose to. Peg, or have you already said your piece? Anyone else? Mr. Fletcher?
So when do we have to have this decided? I would really like to carry it over.
Unfortunately, I think it has to be turned in by December 1st. Is that when it is in December? I do know that.
Okay, so the problem I have is that I met with staff one time with one other council member, and I do want to thank you for calling and messaging me for my opinion.
Thank you.
The problem that we have is one-time meeting with staff and a bunch of what-ifs does not educate me properly. I do not have the information I need to make this decision, quite frankly. I hate to say that in front of everybody, but I do not have the information I need. When I met for the hour and 15 minutes, we had some numbers on papers that we were going to be a couple $1 million short, if this, if that. Well, that's a big thing. I'd like to know where we're going to come up with that money. What are we going to cut? How are we going to get it? And you want me to make this decision tonight? I mean, to me, it's just one of those things that just not enough information for me. And I'm sorry, it might be because it's my 6 months in here, but I don't have the information to make that an educated decision for the citizens.
I appreciate your input. Mr. Abel, you want to say anything?
Well, I think we've got, either way, like Dave said, 4.9 or 0, the lower it goes, the more challenge you got, and the more you're going to borrow from somebody. General fund, probably. That's all we keep doing. And I've had several people say, how are you gonna keep it under 5% with the way inflation's 15, 20%, and everything's going up in price? We're paying the same price whether we're our homeowner or the city's buying things. I just soon do the least challenge, put it that way.
Karen, do you have anything? Oh,
I'm sorry, Mr. Abel, could you clarify what you meant by the last thing you said? You'd prefer to do what?
The least challenge to me is 4.9. You go down 2.9 or 0, you're gonna be borrowing from the general fund again. We're beating the general fund to death. It may not be there someday if we keep doing this. That's what bothers me. That's got a lot more things to do than just finance things because we're afraid to make the tough decision. I'm going with 4.9. We gotta have something in there for backup in that general fund.
Ms. Hoheimer, you want to say anything?
It's a lovely day.
I know it. Is that all you want to say? Okay. We were elected to make tough decisions, and we're all sitting up here struggling. I said that I would like to keep it flat, 0. As a matter of fact, I sat in with Mr. Fletcher, and then I came to City Hall, and Mr. Hills was on his own because we were sitting 2 and 2 and 2. So I sat in, and it came to that decision, and he was struggling. We all are. And I said, I'll give you my opinion. I said I wanted to keep it 0, flat. He appreciated my opinion at the time, as a matter of fact. I'm going to say it again. I hate that we have to turn this in December and turn around and still work on our budget. That is a huge part of our budget. But unfortunately, we have to get this job done because with turning it in to where the property taxes are calculated in the county, they have work to do. It goes from one office to another office and then out to be collected. So, I really think that last year we made major decisions, and that was to have 2 funds that were not sustainable. And I thank every citizen in here, my family included, myself included. Thank you for helping us get this city finances back in shape. It's getting there. We're bringing in revenue the right way with all these new businesses coming to town. And I just think if we can just hold on, we've got a bright future ahead of us, and we have more coming into the city. And if we can just, take advantage of what we did do last year and try to come up with this revenue without raising property taxes, I would be thrilled. That's my opinion.
When is it due to go to the county? And it's not Tazewell, it's also Peoria County, too.
That's correct, yeah.
As well. My understanding, I think it's it has to be filed by the last Tuesday of December, I believe.
It's December 28th is my understanding.
So, with Mr. Fletcher's request that he could make, that we could table it till the 8th. We'd still have plenty of time to make sure that happened. I mean, that's the question.
Yeah, we could table it until the 8th, but I will tell you that I would hate to turn it in any later, because if we turned it in tomorrow, if we pass this, whatever it is, and we turn it in tomorrow, I mean, the county is working on it. If everybody waits till the 28th to turn it in, it's a struggle for them to get it done, because come January, that's got to go to another office. So they struggle.
Well, that's 20 days after the 8th.
Yeah, I'm saying if we wait till the 28th, that would, if we were to have, let's say we have a special meeting and we wanted to wait till then, that makes another entity struggle to get it done.
But our last council meeting will be
on the
December 8th,
yeah,
right?
I was just saying, if we push it on down and, not the 8th, if we go even further than the 8th.
Understood.
Yeah.
I would like to see it carried over till the 8th. We maybe could meet a little more, or I could meet with staff, get questions answered.
Mr. Fasella, you look like you wanted to say something.
I will make a motion to carry it over until the 8th.
Motion to table, we not be, ew, sorry.
I'll second
Sorry,
that
Mr.
motion.
Then it has its second, thank you, Mr. Hilst. It's not debatable at this point, it's just to be voted on.
So we have a motion on, oh,
Well, so just to make something clear, so we do it on the 8th, we could approve it on the 8th, and it goes to the county. You could go to the county on the 9th.
Well, I mean,
Correct?
as soon as
Or
it gets
what-
approved
Yeah.
and signed and everything else will go to both of the counties. And it'll, if it gets approved here, it will go before the 28th. We don't have to wait till the 28th.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
We could do it.
Correct.
is Peoria County the
Theoretically, the next
28th
day.
as well?
Yeah, it's a statewide,
Is it?
statewide
Okay.
mandate,
Yeah,
Mayor.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got a motion on the floor to table this until our December 8th meeting by Mr. Fletcher, and it was seconded by Mr. Hilst. So council, take your vote. Motion passes 7-0 to council.
Thank you, everyone.
To table this until December 8th. You know, and I do want to say that we all have our own opinions up here, but we are trying to do what is right for our citizens. I think, I'm just going to go out of order a second here. I have someone in the audience that would like to say something.
My name's Elaine Ritchie. I should have got up. I missed the November meeting, the first one, but a good friend of the city that worked as a mechanic for the city of Pekin, and a lot of yous know him, Bob Riley.
Oh,
He
yes.
passed away, and his name was never acknowledged, and he was a longtime member of the city of Pekin. He worked on our police cars, our fire trucks, our buses. One very good man, and I would like to acknowledge that at this meeting.
I appreciate that, and I'm not so certain that Mr. Dossi tries to come
I
up with,
know.
yeah, so I'm
But-
not so
and I
certain he wasn't
here
going to
the
say that.
last time,
Yeah.
and I just, I thought he did work many, many years on all of our vehicles.
I appreciate you bringing something up.
So, thank you.
Thank you. All right, now that we're out of order and now back into order, are we at a point where we need to take our vote? Oh, no, wait, we already did. I'm sorry, I didn't mark it down, 7-0. Any other business to come before the council? That got me a little messed up. Mr. Dossi.
Thank you, Mayor. December 2nd, the Center for Prevention of Abuse is going to have a mural unveiling at 10 a.m. in the area of Fifth and Margaret. If any council wants to attend or any of the public. On December 4th, there's a ribbon cutting at 111 North 6th Street. It's a mental health and wellness center. Just a reminder, over the Thanksgiving holiday, City Hall will be closed Thursday and Friday. And I believe a letter was sent out from Lauterbach and Amon to all the council members regarding the audit. And I don't know if Eric has any further input on that, but just explaining where they're at in the process and that we have submitted everything. We've been doing our due diligence on our end. It's just that they're inundated, so they're working to get this resolved and get the audit done as soon as possible.
I had a good conversation with their partner, and we got some wheels going here. They're currently writing up the FY23 audit while we're doing a little bit more on the analytics side. And we're working on GASB 87, which is a treat. So should be coming.
Those are tough. Thank you. Any other staff, Mr. Dossi?
That's it, Mayor.
Mr. Hilst?
Just a couple quick things. So it was mentioned earlier under public input about that Kratom being banned in some of those municipalities, and it was spoken about home rule, but I don't believe all those cities that she mentioned are home rule municipalities. I don't think that's unique to a home rule city. I think if you want to ban that, you can ban that regardless. Is that correct?
No, well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people, trustee, that's an excellent question. So we looked into this a great deal. And for example, we have a non-home rule unit that passed a circuitous manner, a roundabout manner to approve it. We would have to make an election between a license or not. But if you read the state statute, and the state has not acted, even though it's been called to act many times with regards to this. And there is no way to ban it, and that is the common conception. Now, whether people pass an ordinance to do it or not, that's one thing. But whether that ordinance comes into assault and gets sued because somebody says he uses extension upon the authority. When we did the research in Antioch, for example, which honestly has been held as a standard for a non-home rule unit and on how to do this, and it's honestly the one where people call and they ask for this. It's a roundabout way. It's not a ban. It's not a ban. We actually reached out to the legislatures. I just know a lot about this, so I apologize. We reached out to the legislatures to at least allow this for non-home rule banning, in case it went on there, and the legislature will not touch this matter. So to ban something outright because it's a toxin or some sort of poison or something like that, allegedly, you need home rule power for. And again, a lot of people do a lot of things that wouldn't hold up if they were challenged, and they do them for different reasons. So while a non-home rule unit may do that, it really doesn't have the authority to do so.
So a couple of the cities she mentioned while she was up there that she said had already banned it, then you're telling me that that's misinformation?
No,
That
I'm
she
not
was
telling
wrong
you
about
that. I am not telling you that. What I am telling you is that those city legislatures can pass whatever they want to, and they can do it with the proper authority or improper authority. I don't worry about, to be honest with you, I don't worry about East Peoria, I don't worry about Morton, I don't worry about Creve Coeur. I'm sure they're lovely places, and I've driven through them many times. But my obligation is to make sure that the city of Pekin follows the laws, and the city of Pekin does the right things. And so if you really want those authorities to be able to do stuff like ban Kratom or Delta 9 or any of those other things that are, let's say, derivative products from cannabis, and they cause the problems that that nice young lady was talking about, you need the home rule authority, sir. That's just a fact.
Okay, well, that's a bit confusing to me then, from what I heard at the podium and from what
Sure.
you're telling me.
Well, then I'll help you break it down. So a village can do whatever it wants. It doesn't mean that it's legal, just like any other corporation. And whether those people did it or not is somewhat not of my concern. My concern is to make sure that we do it the right way. And when you look at cases such as the Cell versus the city of Elmwood Park, home rule units have much more regulatory authority than non-home rule units. That's just a fact. You can find a Cell from 2015 in a first district court case that went all the way up to the Supreme Court that actually dealt with the issue of video gaming. And it said the home rule unit can regulate more things than a non-home rule unit. I'm breaking down many briefs down to one sentence, sir. But, so they can pass whatever they want. But I wholly support the manager's position that a home rule unit has far more regulatory authority than a non-home rule unit.
Okay,
That's
well,
just
first of all, I'm not gonna sit here and debate the whole home rule issue. That's not why I brought it up. I'm talking specifically about that Kraton that she brought up.
Okay,
And she stated a couple cities had already banned it.
That's correct.
We were told you can't do that unless you're home rule, but the cities that she said had already banned it are not home rule. So you're telling me that they can ban it, but they can't enforce it?
I don't think I said it was because we're home rule. I said.
That's
it's a
exactly
good-
the way I understood that.
Well, then you misheard or misunderstood what I was saying.
Okay?
Home rule gives us the option to take care of issues that we're having, that are going on within our community. Gives us the opportunity to make an ordinance to address that situation that's specific to us. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying home rule one way or another. Mr. McNish is putting a lot of words in my mouth. And I'm going to go there because I listen to him and he says all these things and he's wrong. And sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm getting tired of it when he continually comes in here and says these things, and it's misinforming. But home rule gives us the opportunity to address issues like this. The camping ordinance, absolutely, I'm well aware of what Grant Pass is all about with the homeless encampments along the riverfront and on public property. We waited until the Supreme Court came out with that decision before we implemented the ordinance. And we did that to clean it up because people were complaining about the riverfront. That's what home rule does. It gives us that authority to do these things. Same thing with the kratom and everything. It gives us a little bit more authority to go address these issues. And I'm not saying that East Peoria or whoever, I don't know. I'm not dealing with them. I'm dealing with the city of Pekin, exactly like he says. And that's where we're at with this. That's what home rule gives us the tool. It's a tool for us to go in there and put things in place to address the issues that we are experiencing at that moment that the people are voicing concern about. That's what we're trying to do.
Well said.
Okay, well, I was just trying to figure out whether people can ban that kratom, whether they're home rule or not. I wasn't trying to get into the whole deep talk about home rule, but I'll just leave it at that, and I'll just wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Nutter?
Well, let's carry on the kratom discussion. So, through staff, do we have something at a draft that may be coming forward within, I'll just say, I'm going on a limb, by the end of the year?
Oh, well, it'll be drafted by 12/8. There's already my partner, who's far superior in intellect than I am, has already started working on an ordinance in anticipation of these conversations. This is a hot-butted issue. It goes all the way up to the highest levels of federal government.
Sure.
And it's complicated. As Councilmember Hills is talking about, it's got a lot of tentacles. So rest assured, there will be an ordinance on 12/8 for us to review and ideally pass that will utilize the full extent of the powers of the city of Pekin to be able to ban this, in response to the outcry from the city and that nice young lady, what she said.
Okay.
Chief Randy, did you have something you'd like to add?
I was just going to follow up with, it is something that we've been working on for several months, and like the attorney said, what we want to do is make sure that when we create an ordinance that it also is defendable, and that's a big part of it. I think that was the gist of what he was getting to is you guys can pass just about anything you want, but we have to be able to defend it and win it in court, and we've been down this road with these derivatives in the past, and we just want to make sure that we have the best ordinance possible to insulate the city if there is, as I think everybody stated, there's a lot of money involved in this. And so a lot of these businesses have a lot of money and will try to defend it. And we want to make sure that when we bring an ordinance to you to pass, that we bring the best well-insulated ordinance for the city and the citizens. So if we do end up in litigation, that we can defend it successfully.
Thank you very much. I think that's exactly what they were trying to say on, we want to make sure that an ordinance is passed properly if we have to go into litigation for any reason. And home rule gives us a little bit more of that authority. Absolutely. Mr. Nutter, is that it?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
He's got a
Simon?
page full.
I keep getting asked this, and I don't have the answer. When's the last day for yard waste pickup?
It's on the website, December 19th. Yep.
Thank you.
I just looked it up. I'll have to look again. Is it
I looked it up.
Is it under
Mr.
Public
Hills,
Works? Is it under Public Works or a flyer at the
Under
beginning?
Solid waste, yard waste.
Okay, that's the reason. People don't know to go there. So December 19th, thank you. Somebody stole a bunch of barrels on Court Street. Is that true? Oh, wait a minute. No, the reason is because they paved between 14th and 10th, and the barrels, it looks good, it drives good. Hopefully that'll all be open pretty soon.
Yeah, so the remainder of that should be closed up shortly, and then William Charles is getting ready to finish up on the 10th Street intersection.
Good.
They are going to hold off until probably February for the next iteration of work. So we should have all traffic control removed on Court Street through Christmas. And
Excellent,
yeah.
because it drives sweet, so.
I do have to say I was out of town for a couple of days and I came back and I'm like, wow, the improvement. It's looking wonderful.
Yep. Christmas on Court is December 5th from 4 to 8. a nice event downtown. And happy Thanksgiving to anybody or everybody. And if you have any leftover turkey, I'll give you Mr. Dossey's number because he's always looking for some sweet stuff and turkeys and everything. That's all I have.
Ms. Phillips?
Thank you, everyone, for being here on the pre-holiday meeting tonight. It's quite a good attendance. Happy to see all you, and I'm surprised the meeting has gone this quickly. So, I don't have as long a list as Dave, but I do want to, first off, send my condolences to Lori, I forgot how to pronounce her last name, who spoke about her son.
Oh, yeah.
And Bob Reiling, his family, want to acknowledge that. And, this has been, the kratom issue has been on our radar. And we are wholeheartedly in agreement, as far as I've heard. We all want to pass something to ban this. And we intend on doing it. We've been working on it. We appreciate the public keeping us on task with it, but we will do that. The other topic that's come up tonight is the data center. And I have also been doing some more research into concerns about data centers in areas. One of the things I thought I understood, but I'm not positive about, maybe Mr. Dossey or some of the other staff can help me understand this a little better. When it comes to things like, we will sell them the land, and they say, this is what we want to build on it, and they go to the zoning board for approval. That's right so
Well,
far?
Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on the situation. Just because we
Okay.
sell land does not mean zoning's necessarily going to happen. But in this case, yes, it will go before the zoning board.
Okay. And a lot of the concerns that people across the country are expressing about the data centers, will the zoning board have the ability to address any of those concerns at the point where they're getting ready to get, okay, this is what you want to do in this area, the noise level has to be this, or the water has to be that? Is that something that will come or is already in place?
Yeah, so this is a very large project. It will likely happen in multiple phases. Each phase is going to have to go before zoning board for site plan approval and ultimately to city council. That is exactly the time when you want to talk about issues related to what's going to be constructed there, how is the land going to be used. Zoning board members ask a lot of questions, everything from landscaping to traffic access, all those types of things. Being that this is a very large development project, just as if we did a 1,000+ unit home development, there will likely also need to be additional just public education and outreach and awareness about what's going to happen because it is going to be impactful. Specific information like one person in public comment was referring to about energy prices. I mean, supply and demand is real. One thing to note is that just because something happens in the city of Pekin versus the next town over, we're all on the same MISO grid.
That's right.
So that's a consideration to take into account as zoning board and you all make considerations. We don't have the definite authority over electric prices just because you approve a project.
I understand that. One of the kind of things I was thinking about is if the zoning board or whoever sets these rules says that any high-capacity, monster-eating energy machine, we're going to require that facility use renewable resources for X% of its. Is there anything like that?
I don't, so you can put conditions on certain zoning approvals, like a special use or a variance. a data center is an allowable use in the B3 and I1 and I2 districts, I think. I don't think with a site plan that you can add conditions to approval, like they kind of either meet the requirements or they don't. So, they're gonna incorporate a lot of stuff. They are also sensitive to the fact that there are issues around the country with, data center developments that are being turned down because of good reasons. And they obviously don't want to get turned down, so, they will certainly incorporate some of those things as well. For example, one of the things they've already told us they incorporate is recycling water, so that they don't have to utilize as much water from the water system.
Didn't you say that they recycle 90% of the water usage?
I am not sure about that. I mean, that's a number that was thrown out,
Yeah.
but I don't have any, real information or data about that
Okay.
from this developer.
And I do know some towns around us have already been contacted by Ameren about the supply coming through even their cities too. So like they said, if it's not here, it's going to go somewhere else, and we're still going to be, having to supply and demand.
Yeah. Did you have any more questions that I can help with?
I just felt like I needed some more conceptual answers, and I appreciate the understanding. Basically, any concerns that we have about data centers that aren't already addressed in basic codes would involve a different discussion than,
So another thing, and I think Attorney Vaselli can speak to this too, is as part of in our case, as part of the purchase and sale agreement to sell them land, we did incorporate therein that, they are going to seek development incentives, and you can attach whatever you want to development incentives. I mean, we haven't really negotiated that yet. We've talked generally with them about what that's going to look like, but obviously nothing's been approved by council. If you would like them to incorporate certain things, that would absolutely be another time when you could say, okay, if you want incentives from the city in the long run, you need to incorporate some of these other aspects of your development.
That's good.
I appreciate the help understanding the process, because I've been concerned about it. I didn't want to put anybody on the spot for answers. I hope you didn't feel like I blindsided you on that. Once again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you for your time and attention to us. And I will say it's a lot more fun being up here than it is being in the audience.
Mr. Fletcher.
I just want to say thank you to the mayor and the other council members for extending the levy vote, because I really do want more information. And to staff, Eric, John, and probably Mr. Grogan, look forward to meeting with you next week, maybe more than once. What I'd really like to see is, if this, then this. If this, then this. That's all doesn't have to be super detailed, just enough information that I can make a informed vote. And happy Thanksgiving.
Mr. Abel.
First of all, the ordinance we're going to be getting on the 8th, I hope it's worded so we don't have to come back in 3 months when they come out with a replacement for it, because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It'll be like playing whack-a-mole. When we get rid of one, there'll be another one up in 3 months, so. And that being said, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope we can all enjoy family, friends, and food, and let's remember our men and women around the world safeguarding what we do in this room every couple meetings. So, having been there, done that, a lot of young ones are going to be their first time away from home. It's going to be tough on them, so let's keep them in our prayers and thoughts, and that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Hoheimer.
Yes, please indulge me for a few moments. Something has been weighing heavy on my heart for the past few weeks, and I just have to express my sadness. A recent FOIA request sought IMRF pension information for myself, the mayor, and several city employees. I want the public to know that I fully support transparency. I have nothing to hide. To be clear, IMRF pensions
are earned benefits that are agreed to as a part of our employment contracts. Employees and elected officials pay into the system with every paycheck, and our pensions are calculated by state formulas strictly based on years of service and salary averages. It is my deceased husband's pension that was voided. I can't be sure what the information was going to be used for, but it raises red flags for me when our personal information is being sought out by members of the public and especially by fellow council members. When I read the email to you, it will raise red flags for you too. I feel we are owed an explanation. The mayor and I, as well as Pekin's staff, serve with professionalism and dignity and deserve better. We don't always agree, and that's healthy, but disagreement should never become personal. My focus remains on Pekin's priorities, infrastructure, fiscal responsibility, and keeping our community strong and growing. Anyone with questions about IMRF, city finances, or my record is welcome to contact me directly. Here's the email in question. I'm not going to read the 23 names or individual pension amounts that are in the emails, but they have been sharing them with each other. I will start with, from Jim Mangan to Rick Hilst. You asked me some time back about IMRF retirees. I got a current long list of annual payments from all local taxing bodies. I included a few names that might ring a bell. The way the amounts look, I'm assuming Mary's county pension is combined with her late husband. I didn't ask for Peoria schools, so I don't have Hoheimers, but I'm sure it has to be hefty. You should see what retired teachers are getting. I got those from the teachers' system for 108 and 303. From Dave Nutter to Rick Hilst, thanks for the interesting information. Mangan's is from his wife, not sure where she worked. Not sure why LeBeg and Marsden's pay is so high unless they took a buyout. Neither worked that many years. I'll ask Dossie why his wife gets a check. I'm curious what year this represents. Sue's pay has me baffled, unless it's the Sue McMillan from the Park Board. Well, I'm here to tell you that it's Sue McMillan from the Park Board. Sue McMillan never collected a penny. She died.
I know that. That's why I asked who it was.
Here's the email. I just want to know, how is this anybody's business? I am so hurt. I will tell anybody in this room every penny that comes in my house every month. But they have people talking about it, sneaking around. What is your purpose? Shame on you. Thank you.
I have a couple of positive things to say. Number one, I have had the privilege of talking with some staff at the water company, and I asked them, I said, you know, I came back from the new stores and restaurants out on the East Bluff and come driving through, and everything looks so fresh and clean and new, and you come downtown and it's becoming fresher and cleaner and newer, and I love it all. But then I looked up on Reservoir Road or Drive, and there's the water tower with a little bitty Pekin on it, and that's exactly how I said it to him. It had a little bitty Pekin. I said, why can't we have it freshly painted with our logo, with even a city dragon or the school dragon, and a nice new Pekin, big. And I said, but who's responsible for that and who pays for that? And they said, we do. We will put it on the list. So I want you to know that I am hoping it will be on the list real shortly, and we will have a bright new Pekin water tower. Second of all, I want to thank the positive people that came to speak tonight. We don't hear it enough, and I thank you, and I hope you return, each and every one of you that say something positive about our beautiful city. It is improving, we are moving forward, and we're going to have some rough bumps. We've still got plenty of rough bumps to go over, but thank you, each and every one of you. Second of all, the levy. It's not easy, but I do want to say we are going to do our best to take care of the levy without sacrificing the safety of our community. It was stated again tonight that our police and fire pensions are all paid out of tax dollars, our property tax dollars. So I don't want to compromise anything, but I also want to try our best to hold the line and see that some of these fees that we had to raise, if it doesn't start helping us even more and more and more, with new revenue coming in, new businesses coming in, we will get more help, and more help. That is how you make a city grow, is by bringing in revenue the right way. With that, I do appreciate everything that was said tonight. I too am hurt by Karen finding out the information that she did. We have signed on the dotted line. I worked 40 years for the county, and I didn't have a choice. You will pay in to the IMRF, and we will pay in a certain amount. And until the state changes something, that's how it's going to have to be. I mean, it is the law. And why they wanted to make a big deal out of it, I don't know. That is so petty when we are trying to move this city forward. So petty. And I think that if we all take a deep breath and realize that we're up here to make great, great choices, this city will go far. We are the largest city in Tazewell County, and we should be the leader, and I want to be the leader. And we will get there. With that, Chair would entertain a motion to go into executive session, and we will not be coming out taking a vote.
Madam Mayor, I move that we move into executive session under 5 Illinois CS 120-2 C6, setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body.
Motion made by Ms. Phillips and second by Mr. Abel. We are now in executive. Oh, wait a minute. We need to take a vote. Sorry. Council, take your vote, please. Yeah, we can take a break. Yes. We are going to take a 5-minute break, but do I state the time right now, Madam Clerk? Time now is, hold on here, 7:38, but we are going to take a quick 5-minute break.